Yeah.
In the traditional attire, a teenager is naked. The only thing they cover up is barely cover up. It's literally just the front part that's covered. But the back, the booty's out, the nipples are out. We've got all these ceremonies, and all these young girls are showing their bums, they're showing their butt cheeks. But now, when they're dressed in non-traditional clothing, it's a problem. So I find that very weird. Like, what is that?
The high school girls trying to look more mature for more older eyes, you know? And obviously now with social media being so easily accessible, I think it just makes it so much easier and acceptable for them to actually dress a certain way.
Now, wearing a skirt that is showing some butt cheeks is no more at school. But you know what? Today it's kind of different, guys, because it's all about the girl child, okay? A lot of young lads out there, like, let's talk about dressing, right? I don't go against dressing, you know, but there are some saying that, like, let's talk about high school kids, you know, their attitude, the dressing. When I say high school girls, I'm talking about even they are not in uniform, okay? When they go to groove, you know, like...
Why that groove?
Yeah, like stuff like that. I don't know if Tumelo have seen young girls. Like I'm not talking about 21 young girls. I'm talking about 15.
Yeah. No, like definitely. Like I've seen a lot. I mean, even growing up, you would always see, you know, the high school girls trying to look more mature for more older eyes, you know. And obviously now with social media being so easily accessible, I think it just makes it so much easier and acceptable for them to actually dress a certain way. Like I remember in school, your skirt had to be by your knees. And when you're sitting, it had to be like maximum, I think 4 or 5 fingers, like a hand, above your knee. And now, I'm sure they don't even, as long as you're in your uniform.
Like literally.
Yeah.
I mean, now wearing a skirt that is showing some butt cheeks is no more at school. You know, I don't know. But
you
what's
see,
your take?
When it comes to clothing and female, I find it one of the most contradicting nonsense. Because why is it, especially because we're talking teenagers, right?
Yeah.
In the traditional attire, a teenager is naked. The only thing they cover up is barely cover up. It's literally just the front part that's covered. But the back, the booty's out, the nipples are out. We've got all these ceremonies, and all these young girls are showing their bums, they're showing their butt cheeks. But now, when they're dressed in non-traditional clothing, it's a problem. So I find that very weird. Like, what is that? Why is it acceptable traditionally?
I mean, to be honest, for me, I don't think it's acceptable across boards. But that's my personal, opinion. Like, I don't think it should be acceptable across boards. There's certain things in tradition that need to evolve. Like, just as society is evolving and everything is evolving, there's certain things that have to now, that didn't have to be censored, need to be censored. And I think that's the only way then you can kind of go, okay, fine, no traditional, but then also we got to then try and enforce it in, their everyday life. But it's impossible. With social media, no matter, you can censor the tradition, but then,
Why do you think it should be censored? Why can't the female bodies, the exposure of the female body be kind of like how their appearance? They celebrate the nakedness of the body. Then it's no longer sexualized. We sexualize it so badly that it's created this culture, this rape culture. It's dark, right? But like you look at the European, they don't shame the nakedness. of the
sense.
human body or the nakedness of a female body. I'm not saying there isn't a rape culture where they're from. I'm
Yeah.
just saying because we is something that we do. The nakedness is something that we do. Seeing the breasts of a young girl, in some cultures, there's a tradition of her because she's still a virgin. She must dance in that
Makes sense.
nakedness.
Yeah.
Then there's in my culture other ceremonies as well where we dance in our nakedness. How come it's celebrated? Why can't we just accept or learn to accept the nakedness? Why is it so sexualized,
But
so
that's the-
harmful? Why is it connected to? Because it was brought up recently earlier today that the nakedness of the short skirts at school are the ones that are endorsing the teenage pregnancy.
Yeah.
How? Why is it? Because the men are hungry. The men get, they see the nudity and then they get turned on. Then it's
Exactly.
like, okay, but then why aren't we now looking at the men and the self-control? Because if you're turned on by the nakedness of your classmate, let's not bring in the older guys yet. I'm just saying, I'm not going to bring, at this point, I'm going to make, I'm going to keep it teenage to teenage. If we're in class and I'm wearing a short skirt and that's turning you on, why is it that I'm the only one that's wrong in the situation? How come we're not talking about teaching self-control?
But that's the thing, Ketlego. I don't go against the traditional and what, right? That's where they do it, right? Now we're at school. Do you know a certain area in a certain place, there's dress accordingly, Like, you're at school, there's no tradition that is going on there. There is a dressing at school, then there's a dressing at the traditional. There's literally nothing wrong about you showing it off, right? But we are at school to learn. You're causing destruction to someone who is literally working through that, thing of like, okay, I'm trying to like work through my self-control and everything. Because like, listen, that's what also leads to teenage pregnancy. Like, they are doing it off of like, look at my legs. I got beautiful legs. And then what's going to lead that to?
No, but
It's
I
gonna
got
lead to-
beautiful legs. Why must I hide my legs because you are horny?
But we are at school.
So I got beautiful legs. How come when we're doing sports, you're gonna take off your shirt at school? When you're doing rugby practice and netball and tennis and all those athletic stuff,
Okay.
you're gonna show your sexy legs and you're gonna show your thingy. But we don't say anything about you and your attire.
I mean, if you want to do it, you can do it. But what we're
Why
going to do...
can't I do it freely?
But you can do it freely, but what we're going to do, we're just going to come for you. And
So
then
because I show mine, you come for me, and I can't show
of
yours.
course,
come
you
for
look sexy, so why wouldn't
You
I?
also look sexy. The hell.
That's what leads...
Sex is not one-sided. Like, sexual desire is not one-sided. Teenagers are exploring. Their body is going through that. Actually, teenagers is heightened, right? Because it's all of these things that are
It's
happening.
just, yeah, crazy.
So, also us, we have all these crazy things that are happening to the body, and I also see you as sexy. I also would desire you. I
Makes
also
sense.
get aroused by you because you're out here in your tights
Makes sense.
at athletics, and I'm like, oh, those thighs.
But then...
But then I don't. It doesn't. You don't get attacked.
Okay,
You're not made responsible for a situation where we're both going to participate.
makes
in.
sense.
Because now, the teenage pregnancy, yes, unfortunately, we bear the brunt because we carry the child. Okay, not unfortunate. But in that case, I guess it is. But everyone's going to be like, oh, it's the teenagers wearing the short skirts. Oh, it's the teenagers. The girls wearing the short skirts. The girls showing their legs. We did the thing. Why isn't there's how long are we going to keep blaming the girls? For hundreds of years, it's always the girls' fault. Where are we? We're still here. There's two people who participate in that space. What is happening on the guy's side?
Makes sense.
That is still endorsing it till this day that we still have such high statistics of teenage pregnancy amongst teenagers.
But you agree that we got young girls that are literally like, wearing some type of way. It's not all about I'm showing my legs, but to attract boys. Attention. You don't agree with that?
I don't agree.
What do you think?
Again, I blame it like solely on society. It's not the men's fault. It's not the women's fault. It's us as a society's fault. We kind of let everything deteriorate, and then now that we have the results of all this things going wrong, we're going, but it's not us, it's, it's the men. No, it's not the men, it's the girls. It's not the girl. It's both of us at the end of the day. It's both of us. Like, as a society, we could do so much better, in preparing our daughters for high school, for varsity, for the years to come as an adult, But how many parents censor their YouTube so that their kids don't watch Megan Thee Stallion doing knee bops? You know what I mean?
Makes sense.
How many parents have their kids on TikTok? How many parents let their kids on Instagram? I bet you if you see, like, even, I'm sure there's stats somewhere out there of how much teenage boys are actually signed up to OnlyFans subscription. So we are causing this. There's not one or the other to blame. It's us as a society. We kind of failed.
I agree with that. The short skirt thing, like, me too. In high school, it was hard. The short girl used to get in trouble and get demerits. And
So you were like that also?
So, no, I wasn't. I never even wore skirts because of the harassment. Because also, even whether you wear the longer skirt or the shorter skirt, if a boy wants to harass they will. And they did. I always wear baggy pants because of the structure of my body. I have the structure of the body that's highly sexualized. So harassment was something I experienced. So I always wore oversized clothes to school that don't fit me to cover it up. Still, that didn't change anything. So the dressing of the girl at school doesn't change when a guy wants her, when a guy is going to approach or thingy. The short skirt thing, if it's like normalized right now, then it's the schools. Because when we were growing up, it was very strict. The schools would not allow it. You'd get in trouble. There was, and also boys, there was a certain way your clothes were supposed to look. But we can't blame that on the girls. Even if we say the parents, teenagers do what they want no matter what the rules are.
Makes sense.
So if you leave your house, your skirt is here, she goes home, she's got another one that she tailored secretly, and she's gonna wear when she gets to school. So you can't say so it's. I will say one thing I do agree is that as a society, when it comes to children today, we really have given up on the kids. Like, we've stopped mentoring. We've stopped. They're just fending for themselves.
Everything is out there.
They're fending for themselves. The teenagers are fending for themselves.
But then, like, why are you defending the fact that the behavior, especially like teenagers that are clubbing, because we have that thing of like. In fact, do we have a age limit for drinking?
Yes, it's 18.
In SA? Mm-hmm. In SA, it's 12.
I mean, I was clubbing when I was like 15. So.
But like, wait.
I got no foot to stand on this.
It's literally even 11.
What must we do? It's the bouncers. It's the club. Why are the kids here? And I mean, even as adults, when we go clubbing, it's a turn off. You're like, yo, so many kids.
So many kids.
Then we leave the club. Then the club ends up being owned by the kids. The teenagers that are there. It's like that story that happened a couple of years ago with the Tarven where the kids got allegedly poisoned.
Yeah, makes sense, yes.
All underage kids. Why was a whole club Tarven filled with all underage kids? They blamed the parents. Why were your kids outside?
Yeah, makes sense.
Instead of why did the club have... Oh, this is very close. I keep kissing it. Why did the club have underage kids?
Makes sense.
So,
but then what can be done? Because like it's something that is literally getting out of hand. I'm telling you, like I was at the beach this other time, couple days ago. I saw young boys, like I think 11, 12 years. They were smoking that thing in vape. I don't know if vape have age.
Also, like I said, we're not protecting them. We're not protecting them. We're not protecting the babies. Right now, we're not...
So where are we going?
The babies are fending for themselves right now. The babies are like young adults.
I think we need to be re-educated on... I'm not saying parenthood. I'm just saying as a society, I think we need to re-educate ourselves on like understanding society and actually realizing that the energy we put in to, the youngsters that might see you as a role model or in your neighborhood or your own children, it needs to be like touched up in a way that when they get older, they understand how things work.
Makes
Currently,
sense.
right now, I feel if you had to go to a random 16-year-old and you say, who's your role model? Right? If they have social media, they're probably going to name probably like an OnlyFans star or a social media star.
Yes.
They're not going to actually name role models. And then if that's who they're looking up to, you can understand which direction that is headed.
Literally.
You know, so we just need to do better. That's the only way anything will kind of get better. But I think it needs to get worse before it gets better, unfortunately. This is, you know.
I believe when it comes to the teenagers and the kids, we are their parents. So if we're saying that this is what they're living, why parents as the community, the society, what are we doing about it? We don't like it. We know that it doesn't really help them benefit their future. It leads to a lot more damage. So what are we doing? We keep saying, oh my God, you guys are pregnant, teenagers, stop having sex, stop having, they've been saying that for years. What are we doing now? Like the statistics were high. Yes, the statistics were also connected to rape of young girls being fathered by older men.
Makes sense.
But there were also same age group teenagers having children together in that space. We all did life orientation. They all do life orientation. They know condomize, or contraceptive. Because I'm not too sure the legal age of a contraceptive without legal guardian. I think it's 16. I'm assuming it's 16. So this information, I'm not sure how well known it is, but there is information. But when it comes to the actioning, what are we doing? Like when we see the kids at the club, shouldn't we be kicking them out? Because the bouncer's not going to do nothing. Be like, go home.
Hey, bro, you want to fight somebody's child in the club, bro?
Go home. Or you tell the bouncer, this is a child, take them out.
I think
Best thing to do is just buy them water. That's what I do. If I see someone like a really young individual, I'm not going to be like, yo, get out the club. Like, I'm not that person. You live your life, but let me get you some more. Let me get you a drink at the bar, give you a bottle of water, because I know where this night ends up because I've been there. You know, so, but to kick somebody's child out the club?
Get out the club. You ain't supposed
wild.
to be
but
here.
also the bouncers, don't they look at the body? They don't even look at the
They don't
age.
look at the age.
They look at, okay,
Oh, the
okay,
club
she's
culture
fine.
is something else. They just, yeah, it's...
She's fine.
It's how
Come
many
in.
customers they can learn. And there's a new culture I've heard talk about. So it happened to me too. It's a profiling that happens to you. So basically when you look a certain way, the bouncers pick you off the street and like, hi, how are you?
Wow.
You look beautiful. Like, thank you. Don't
The
you want
bouncers.
to, the bouncer, don't you want to come here and show, and if you say, I don't have money, whatever, don't worry.
I
On
got
the
you.
house, come. Then they display you like right at the outside balcony section where the people see you. So you
Yes.
get paid essentially to
Wow.
sit and drink and eat at the space to lure in a specific clientele because they know they can lure in a specific clientele with someone that looks like you. It's happening to teenagers. It happens at places like restaurants. I can't name names, but the story was based on a specific restaurant. It's a family restaurant. It's not even a club or
Makes sense.
a lounge, or it's a restaurant. It happened to this girl and her friend, and then the mom came, and then she saw what happened, and she got very upset, and she ranted about this profiling thing. So there's that also that's happening where the bouncers are picking the young ones, because also they know that the young ones are going to lure in a specific clientele, so they want the young ones to come in, and then they display them. They put them in a specific section, and then that section is where you're going to be seen to bring in the customers. How are we protecting our girls from that?
Yeah, where's the police? Like, I think that's the thing. The police should be shutting down these clubs. They should be doing random check spots
Makes sense,
on a
yeah.
Friday night. Just pull up on a Friday night
but
and
IDs.
just look around the room and just call everybody out IDs. And if there's
the
a
club has
certain, you know, then people get arrested. The owner,
Shut
inside
down.
managers, bouncers, and then they shut it down. But, you know.
Because honestly, the poor children, it's always them, and you're like, but there's so many systems that support these systems that are hurting them. The short skirt thing, really, the schools can do something. But we grew up with the schools being very strict about that. But also,
now it's
the
trend.
issue is still remains. Why aren't the young boys being... Also, I have this thing. Young boys are not being... They're just left to fend for themselves also. How come they're not being trained on how to handle this new sexual experience? There's no information on that. There's no
Makes
nothing.
sense.
There's no conversation. They just know that, okay, you must go get off, watch porn, watch that. That's it.
Yeah.
No... What happens when you have like this urge and then this girl you like and then she doesn't want you, but then that makes you desire her more.
I get it.
That's why I'm like, we're always talking one-sided when it comes to these topics, but it's the problem involves both. What are we doing for the boys? What are we doing for the boys?
No, but we protect more on girls. The focus is more on girls because the girls, they're the one that start.
The girls are being protected from guys. If the guys were prepared properly and properly trained, or I don't know, they wouldn't need to protect the girls.
That's true.
You wouldn't need.
But, you know, I also think there's not many outlets that a young teenage individual can, like, take part in. Like, in a sense of, when I was growing up, every weekend there was a community, either it would be sports day, or it would be a golf day, or it would be a meet in the park day. There was always something that, like, kind of brought us close as a community, which then kind of, you know, you always had, like, the dads around helping out, and, you know, so that kind of gave you, like, guidance, because, you know, if you behaved a certain way, they'd be like, no, you don't do that, and then, you know, you kind of get that. But now, you know, I don't even think there's much activities other than festivals, carnivals, bars, clubs, for people to
Literally.
do on weekends. It's like,
Makes sense.
Yeah.
like we brewing this culture. So obviously for them, that's all they want
They
to
have
do.
nothing to do.
Yeah, it's like, what do you do? Like, yeah, it's a Saturday. What do you do? Oh no, let's go to this restaurant, have a couple of drinks.
Makes
That
sense.
always leads to after hours at a club.
I get you.
Yeah.